Washington Pod presents Earl Nightingale.
We rented a cottage one summer many years ago on Carmel Bay in Northern California. There was nothing between our house and the beach except the scenic drive along the beautiful shore. Early each morning, the surfers would begin to arrive. They'd park their cars on the drive and begin a ritual that would seem strange indeed to the surfers of Southern California. They would change into wetsuits. The water and the air in Carmel, even in midsummer, is too cold for the familiar bathing suit, so they wear wetsuits. It's quite a job getting into one of those skin-tight-fitting rubber or neoprene or whatever they're made of diving suits, but they do it until the water is heavily dotted with them. Out there, on their surfboards, in that cold water, they look like seals as they wait for the right wave to come along. They transport their boards on top of their cars like skis. And the rubber suits seem to do the job because once they're in the surf, they tend to remain there for long periods of time. They're fun to watch as they paddle to catch the still unbroken large swell, and then as they catch the wave's momentum, stand up on their boards and start their lateral slide down the cresting slope. As the poet William Blake said, energy is eternal delight. But as I watched the young surfers arriving one morning, I was reminded of how we as human creatures adapt to difficult or changing circumstances. Without the warm water and temperatures that are taken for granted a few hundred miles to the south, the surfers of the north have simply adapted to the changed situation. They've found a way to manage, and so it is with people all over the globe. They adapt. They find a way. The crippled child is often the happiest of children. Old people adapt to the changes in their lives with no regrets. The people living in the Soviet Union make do with situations as they are, and they laugh and have children and look forward to events in their lives. The Eskimos, I'm sure, never give a thought to people who live in easier climatic circumstances, and the surfers of Carmel never give a thought to the cold air and water as they enjoy surfing where they are. Each of us copes with his circumstances as best he can and usually manages pretty well. But René Dubose has pointed out that while our capacity to adapt to difficult or changing circumstances has been the key to our survival on this planet, we sometimes carry our adaptive capacity too far and put up with circumstances that we really should seek to change. Mind-dulling work, for example, or living under conditions of pollution that are slowly poisoning us and our children. And there's a tendency of those most in need of change to resist change of any sort as a threat to an existence that, if barren, is survivable. Sometimes we should not adapt, but actively seek and bring about change in our lives and circumstances. We should set and work toward goals in our lives that test the best that's in us so that we can progressively grow more competent. If our lives are not what we most want them to be, we should change them for the better. We can create the environment in which we seek to live our lives.